Hello and welcome, I am the Sterling and today we are playing Going Medieval. In the last episode, we took our first step towards our major project down here on the West End by building these two towers and by building a landing down the bottom. Moving forwards, we still have to push this corner tower out somewhere around here and then build a connecting wall over to this tower before we start doing any sort of construction down here at the bottom. Unfortunately, all of this is going to have to wait for another episode, as we have a few other little problems that we have to take care of first. So sit back, grab a cold one, and let's get started. As you can see, we're on day 8 of winter, 1377. We have a couple of little minor problems that we have to take care of this episode, and just a few other little bits and bobs that I want to take care of at the same time. For instance, I have a little bit of an idea for this space over here, but I'll get to that a little bit later on. For a long time, the settlers haven't been using the Great Hall. Some do, some don't. Honestly, majority of them really don't. So over the last 8 days, I've been dedicating my time to really directing them into this Great Hall. I've now put supply of booze out here and food. At the same time, I'm denying booze and food here in the pub, and also cleared all the shelving around the place of food as well. So the only place you can get food now is either directly out of the cellar or from this Great Hall. Now, why have I gone to all this trouble to force everyone into the Great Hall here at the keep? Well, I'm glad you asked that. Every winter lately, our settlers have been freezing. Castle Sterlington is enormous. Its vast footprint makes it very, very hard to keep it warm. I could have settlers all day running around lighting braziers and such, and they probably still wouldn't get on top of refueling all the braziers. There's just too bloody many. And at the same time, I've still got to cut down trees. I've got a farm. They've got all their production tasks still to take care of, especially cooking. So I can only really spare a couple of settlers here and there to be able to take care of all these tasks, which isn't great. So I've decided I'm going to force all the settlers under the roof of the keep and its east and west wings. I've done this by going around and deleting all the beds outside of the keep, all but this singular bed here in the cathedral. So all the beds in the pub are gone and all the beds in the mining outpost are gone. I'll just add beds to the mining outpost as we need them. I've gone around and set all the braziers in the keep to high and then all the rest of the braziers to either medium or low. That way the keep is always warm. And now that brings me on to my first real problem with this episode. When I designed the keep, I designed it for 22 settlers. So if you go through, there's 6 beds here on the top of the keep, there's 10 beds over the west wing and 6 beds over the east wing. Now, if you're counting along with me, you realize the fault here. We've got 23 settlers and only 22 beds. So we can't put everybody under the roof of the keep. So that brings us over here to the project that I mentioned before. So I've noticed a recurring trend in the comments. People keep asking me to move the kilns and the smelters outside. While they're inside, they're only 60% efficient, which honestly has never really worried me in the past. I'm not overly fussed. These jobs here are more like a second-hand thought, especially when you look at the vast amount of resources I have, such as steel, iron, gold, silver. I'm not overly worried about that. And as for the kilns, I'm not overly worried about them either, as when was the last time I really built something out of clay bricks? Let's be honest. So they're not important to me. But then I started looking at the space and thought, okay, maybe that's where we can build a couple of extra beds, turn these into rooms. Suddenly the settlers are all under the keep and everybody's happy. And so I thought, okay, well, I might build a little open to the air but sheltered area here, put the kilns and all that in it, and make this whole area sort of like your blacksmithing, smelting area, which would be good. And then the more I thought about it, and the more I looked at this area, I thought, nah, I don't want people living in here. Now, to all those asking me to put the kiln and smelters outside, don't panic. I'm still going to build this outside area here. I just don't know what I'm going to do with those 2 rooms. I'm sure I'll find something. So then you're going, well, Sterling, where are you going to add the extra bed? Are you just going to double up the beds in this big room in the corner, or this one over here? And look, that is a possibility. I could do that, but I'm not going to. Okay, Sterling, stop dragging it out and just bloody tell us what you're going to do. Okay, I get it. Now, Sterling is the self-appointed king, as we all know. And let's be honest, as we all expected. So he should have a nicer quarters than everybody else. It's only fair. It's good to be the king. Now, there's many places around Castle Sterlington that I could build him his own special little room. But like I said earlier, I really do have my heart set on keeping everybody under the keep. It would be great if we could go higher, but we can't. We have maxed out our height here. So I've decided I'm going to build him a room here out on the front. Now, obviously, it's going to take a little bit of a modification to the front here, and I'm going to have to knock a few walls down, but as they say, you got to break a few eggs to make an omelette. So let's get breaking. So the first thing that I'm going to want them to do is to destroy these 2 merlons. Next, I'm going to want all these windows gone and the walls adjacent. When they knock out these two walls in the middle, the roof above is actually going to collapse because it will no longer have the beams holding it up. Because if you remember when I constructed it, we had to add 2 beams either side. But for what I have planned, I want to shrink this corridor down to 1 row. So to be able to do that, I'm going to have to also destroy that door there, and then these 4 braziers are in the way. And now finally, I'm going to want them to destroy the merlons on top here. Just like so. Now that's plenty for them to start off with, so let's hit play and let them get to work. Fantastic. We're now ready to move on to the next phase. So the first thing I'm going to do is replace these walls that I broke. One there, and this one over here. Done. Next, I'm going to want to put pillars up here. 1, 2, and 1, 2. I'm going to then round them off. Just like that. And then I'm going to put a limestone block arch in between. Just like so. Now for the time being, I'm going to have them destroy this merlon so I can then put a ladder in so they can get up to build the archway. And then I'll just put that back once they're done. And now we're ready to start planning out the room. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill out this space here with wooden floor. Like so. And then I'm going to have a little balcony that comes out in front. So I'm just going to run a 1 space block in front. And then I'm going to run merlons on the front of that. Just like so. Now we can plan out the room. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the wall here. Like so. And then we're going to run a wall out here. Done. I think it's starting to come along nicely. Now let's add the doors. We're going to add 1 here and 1 here. That way they can get out onto this front balcony. And then I'll add 2 doors here and here. I think that was correct place by memory. Now, I want to add something a little different for the Sterling when it comes to bedding. So let's come here to the Research tab and go to Furniture Level 4. And let's unlock the Royal Bed. It'll take 25 Chronicles, 20 textbooks, and 10 thesis. Done. And now we can add the Royal Bed, just like so. Looking at it, I don't think I've put these doors in the right places. So I'm just going to move them over 1. That's better. Now I'm going to have to add some wooden beams. So 1 there and 1 there. Perfect. And I'll add a wardrobe. Not for really any other reason, just to jazz up the joint. Done. Now, all the rooms have braziers to keep them warm. But I want something extra special for Sterling, as he is the king. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come along and add 2 limestone block walls here and here, here and here. I'm then going to come along with limestone block archways and add 1 there if it will let me. Thank you. Then I'm going to come all the way down here. I'm then going to come across and grab a fire pit limestone brick and plop that right in the middle. Done. That way, when it's constructed, it'll look a bit like a fireplace. Now, before I go putting the roof on, the room needs windows. We're going to stick 1 here and 1 here. But we're not going to leave them as singles. We're going to make a 1 big window. And that will be Sterling's room complete. Though I really do think it would help if I go and put a roof on it. Don't you? And there we go. Now let's hit play and let them get to work. Wow, they completed that quick. They're not messing about this episode. I really like that. It's really beefed up the front of the castle. Doesn't look so delicate anymore. It looks like it could take one hell of an impact. Plus, it adds a bit of grandeur to the keep, doesn't it? Now, before I go running, what on earth has happened here? They haven't bloody finished the job now, have they? Look, they're lucky I can't find out who stuffed that up because I'd have them whipped. Anyway, moving on. We're going to make this Sterling's bed, obviously. So tick, there we go. That is now Sterling's bed. And before I forget, we better come over here to the cathedral and we'll destroy this bed and this brazier. Fantastic. Now, everybody, there's a bit of bloody roof missing here too. the more I look at this, the more I see that these bloody settlers did a shonky job. A proper shonky job. I'm not happy about that. Like I said, they're lucky I don't know who it was. Probably the reason why they're all wearing helmets, just so they can get away with this half-assed effort. Anyway, that's enough bitching from me. Because of them, I can't even remember what I was going to say. I remember. It's fantastic now that everybody is under the roof of the keep. We've got one place that we have to keep warm, which should be quite easy. Now, really, the only concern is the vast distance they have to travel just to get a bit of religious activity. But I can't be doing too much wrong when, on and off, we keep getting people so happy they're turning green. Like Victoria here. Let's have a look at their stats. Oh, have a look at that. 8 in the Great Hall. +6. Entertainment needs fulfilled. +5. Religious needs fulfilled. Oh, so she did make it in time. Pleasant surroundings. Ate a nice meal. Ate at a table, slept in own quarters, comfortable. But she has very high expectations and I still beat them. So that's good. Hopefully moving forwards, I can start getting everybody in the green. Wouldn't that be great? Up until I start my next major project and have them swimming through water and all sorts of other jazz. Anyway, that's enough of me prattling on. Let's get to work. What we're going to do is we're going to start building this outdoor kiln smelting area. Probably an official name. I'm not privy to it, so I'm going to call it the Hot Works. There we go, Hot Works. Now, I can't remember where the path is. I believe it's there. So we'll go 2 off there and we'll run that across and we'll run it right up. So we need as much room as we can because there's a lot of kilns and a lot of smelters. And we'll just come across here and across here. In fact, we could actually go a little bit closer if we wanted. We can go about here, but I don't know if we'll need to. We'll see. We'll play it by ear, eh? Next, we'll put in limestone floors like so. And then it's time to put the kilns and the smelters in. So we'll start with 2 kilns and 3 smelters. In fact, we could separate these like so. Fantastic. Now having a look, I don't think we're going to need it to be this deep. I think that's a bit of overkill. I wouldn't mind having a bit of space. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, I think that's a good size. It'll be a nice big path, and then there's plenty of room under the shelter, but at the same time, it's not dwarfing anything. So that will be good. So now let's go adding some storage here. We're just going to add a storage pile here. We're going to clear it. We're going to make it very high priority. We're going to come to materials, raw materials, and we're going to add wood and coal. Then we're going to copy it and stick it next to each kiln, like so. Next, we're going to copy it again and stick it here. 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, and 1 there. What we're going to do, clear this one. We'll add clay. This one will add silver. This one can have gold. And finally, the last one can have iron nuggets. Fantastic. Now, once they're built, we can go through and organize what we're actually going to produce out of these. Now, while we're at it, let's go ahead and delete the existing furnaces and the existing kilns. Fantastic. And now I'll be able to repurpose these rooms for something else. As I said before, not sure what we're going to do with them though. Now all that's left is for me to put a roof on this thing. Now can the beam fit? Ooh, nope. It does not fit. So what I might do is put a pillar here, and then a couple of wooden archways in front. 1 there, there, and there. And that way I can then run a wicker roof. Done. Now I'll hit play and let them get to work on that. This is great. As I said before, they're not wasting any time this episode building any of the projects I give them. Now, as you can see, I've already gone through and set up the kilns and all 3 smelters ready to go. And as you see, they're all under roof, 100% production speed. That's what we were after. Hopefully that's made quite a few people very happy. Still not bloody completed. Come on. Come on, John, you can do it, mate. Let's do it, do it, do it. And there we go. Now the fireplace is completed. Now that we don't have production in this room and this room here, I'm going to come down to their storage locations and delete all their storage. Fantastic. Now the dogs will come and grab all that and put it in its appropriate place, leaving, once again, these 2 rooms and these 2 rooms open for something in the future. Maybe in a future update, they could even become a prison. Who knows? So how's this? In the last episode, I built this wall. And if you remember, I came over here and dammed off this channel here so the water then wouldn't enter the aqueduct. But the idiot I am forgot that I'd actually built a ladder down to the aqueduct over here in this corner tower. So why didn't I just dam it off here? It would have saved me the massive hike that the settlers have to do to get over here to actually dam it. Live and learn. Now the reason why I bring this up is because once again, I want to dam off the water flow to this wall. So I'm just going to dam it off here. They'll go down this ladder. They'll build that, the water will stop. Though to be perfectly honest with you, I'll still probably have to reset the water from past experience. Just because I dam it off in one place doesn't stop the flow. It just starts the flow on the other side of said wall. Now, as you've already probably guessed, the reason why I want to dam off this wall, because I want to get started on this corner tower, which, as I've mentioned in the past, is all pretty straightforward. Well, this part is anyway. It's just going to be 30 spaces across, then there'll be a tower. As for this wall here, I honestly have no idea how I'm going to do it yet. Depending on where this tower ends up will determine where and how I do this wall. Whether I build another tower out here and have it square off, whether I have it go off on 45, whether I have it follow the terrain here. Only time will tell what path I take. So now we have to work out where exactly this tower is going to start. So I'll get out my trusty wooden wall measuring tape, put it over here and drag all the way across. There we go. That's 24 spaces to there, which would make that 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So that's where the new tower will begin, which in fact will be where the new wall will be, which doesn't look like it's going to be much of a difference. But it means I'm still going to have to rebuild this entire wall, which is a bit of a pain in the bum. Luckily, I've still got enough limestone and enough limestone bricks to do the job. Or so I hope. Well, I guess the first job is ripping out this tower. Ta-da! That's going to be fun. So now let's hit play and let them get to work knocking this tower down. And there we go, we've successfully deconstructed the tower. Now you've probably noticed I've left this L shape here. That's because if I get my trusty old tape measure out and run from this wall here to this wall here, you'll see that's exactly 30 blocks. So this wall here, which was the left-hand side of the tower, has now become the right-hand side of the tower, which means we can build the tower directly out of this existing wall here. Now, I've gone ahead and put in a ladder, as you can see, just so they can get in and out of this tower and build it up nice and fast, so we're not messing about trying to build from below. Now I can go ahead and start planning out building this wall. It's just going to be a continuation of what we already have here. Just like so. And now we can plan out the tower. Fantastic. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and add flooring to each level of the tower, just so when they climb down the ladder, they've got a solid place to stand to build out the rest. Unfortunately, that's going to waste a lot of resources, but it's better than messing about. Now we can just go ahead and finish putting the trimmings on the wall. There we go. And now all that's left is to cap the tower. And there we go. Now we're ready to build it. Unfortunately, this will have to wait for another episode because this is all the time we have for today. So as always, thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.